Greetings once again, and welcome back to the D&D campaign, Dingdongs and Doorknobs. This is part 3, The Many Doors. But before we continue our adventure, let's have a recap, as we are now nearing the halfway mark. The party met, hired by dwarfs, to go to the town of Phandalin. Whilst on the way, they defeated a creature called Clark, who works for a big evil creature called the Black Spider. At the town, they expected to find a dwarf who could take them to the Wave Echo Cave, but found out that he had been taken to a place called Cragmore Castle. After some fighting, the group must now try to get to this castle to save the dwarf and get to the cave. But how do they get to the castle? We continue the story back in Phandalin, whilst Rayla has been told by the more aggressive members of the party to try and put the ashes of the nun in a nearby alleyway. However, some Phandalin guards notice. Morphos and Cyro have to attack the guards, and Cyro claps his cheeks to create a deafening sound. Carl and Teresa, who were pissing on the shrine, joins the battle after not noticing its initial beginnings. Teresa tries to kill the guard by saying President JFK. Drek, despite his hatred for Teresa, see part 1 for an explanation, copies him and screams JFK never died, which shatters the guard's eardrums and kills him. Morphos burns a guard, and Cyro shatters the arsehole of another. Rayla magically kills a guard by taking its life force. Carl shouts the N-word Jesus and kills a guard. Teresa commands masturbate for the last guard, and Braig tries to fight, but the guard knocks Braig unconscious. Rayla heals Braig, and Cyro stabs the last guard. The blood lubricates the masturbation that the guard was doing. Carl swipes at the guard and eats its penis. Drek tries to make out with Carl, and as they go to make out, the penis in Carl's mouth slaps Drek in the face. People go to sleep whilst Drek stalks Carl on a walk to a merchant. Drek convinces Carl to help him take down Teresa once and for all and gets his powers back, which Teresa apparently stole. Cyro also goes to the merchant and flirts with him, allowing him to buy a new whip. Carl speaks to this crazy merchant, who looks at him strangely and gives him a mysterious shadow dagger with religious etchings for free. The shadow dagger whispers to Carl, asking, "Are you my champion?" Morphos finds a trading post with some local miners. A miner gives the group a quest to kill a gang called the Red Brands and take the head of the leader. Carl tries to intimidate the miners for more money, causing them to scream at each other spontaneously. The Red Brands live at the Sleeping Giant Tap. One of the miners, Habis, joins the party as a guide. Habis is a large dragonborn ex-soldier turned miner who enjoys combat but is loyal to those he helps. The team, now with Habis, go to the manor. Carl kicks down the stone door to the hideout and then takes the door, putting it on his back. He then kicks down another door and takes that one too. Cyro, Munchie, Teresa and Habis enter a room and are seen by 3 Red Brand people. Munchie shivs one and Carl stabs another guard with the shadow sword, who he now named Black Daddy. Habis breathes acid on the final Red Brand. The entire party, now knowing the room is safe, moves on. Morphos walks across a bridge and a monster comes up and attacks him, but he kills it. Carl begins looting chests. Then the group splits up. Munchie, Carl, Rayla and Drek go in one door, and Morphos, Habis, Cyro, Teresa and Braig go across the bridge. Habis enters an alchemy room and finds an invisibility potion and grabs a rat. Munchie gets 30 beaver pelts and becomes Beaver Man. Beaver Man / Munchie finds a hidden door. His party enters the hidden door and Carl takes the door. Munchie, Rayla, Drek and Carl go into a crypt. Carl takes a sarcophagus and skeletons attack him. Munchie and Rayla disengage as they believe Carl is, quote unquote, a little bitch. Carl is killed. Carl dies. Lightning cracks as the ground begins to shake. Carl's shadow sword glows, and strange whispers are heard across the manor. It revives Carl. Carl is back in the party. The resurrected Carl finishes the fight, seeming to be even more powerful than before he died. Meanwhile, Habis's party go into a room full of beds. Habis loots a chest and finds the Red Brand captain's loot. Morphos loots the bedside desk and finds a letter to the leader, who is named Glassstaff, from the Black Spider. Habis's party go down the other corridor and find 4 more Red Brands and handle them easily. They carry on and meet up with the other party. Morphos begins to lose his ability to feel magic energy and doesn't know where Glassstaff could be. One room has 2 doors. Carl takes them both and goes in the left door, which contains a prison which holds a pair of human women shackled to a cell wall and a young human boy. Habis's rat has a psychic link with the leader of the Red Brands, allowing Glassstaff to sneak attack the group, knocking Drek, Braig and Morphos unconscious. Munchie sneak attacks Glassstaff, but Glassstaff uses a spell to become immune to all non-magic attacks, and he then charms Habis to change him to his side. Glassstaff blinds everyone other than Carl. He then knocks everyone other than Cyro and Carl unconscious with the help of Habis. Carl points at Glassstaff, speaking in the same whisper as his sword. He bursts into flames. Glassstaff turns to him and looks him in the eye as he begins to die. Carl stares him down, raises a hand and says, "Sans." Glassstaff has a bad time, and energy slams into his body, and he shatters. Habis is uncharmed, but there are 2 guards left. Cyro heals Morphos, Drek and Munchie stealth attacks one guard by etching a Disney Channel logo into his private parts. Drek shoots a guard with a crossbow. Carl pulls the child's door off and attaches it to his back, and then attaches the child to his front. Cyro heals everyone back up. Meanwhile, Carl emotionlessly kills the females and takes their clothes, and the head of one of the females. Carl then commands rape on the child. Drek suddenly becomes even more aroused at Carl's behaviour and then rapes the child under control of Carl. The child dies. Rayla, angered and disgusted at the monsters before her eyes, heals the boy. They leave the manor and go back to the town of Phandalin, back to the miners' exchange, and give them the Red Brand heads, and get 500 gold between them. They believe this should be enough to help them on their travels to Cragmore Castle. However, before they set off, Munchie greedily tries to give the woman's head to the miner, which makes the miner draw his sword, enraged at the murder of his wife. The adventure continues in part 4. Uh-oh, stinky.